Welcome to Voices of Indianapolis, where we explore the narratives of innovators, collaborators, and communicators shaping our city. I'm Jeff Edge, your host on this journey. Join us as we uncover their strengths, glean insights into their views of Indianapolis, and unravel the qualities that make them exemplary role models. Through candid conversations, we aim to illuminate their impactful projects, collaborations, and communication efforts that are propelling our community forward. Together, we'll celebrate these influencers, fostering inspiration and dialogue to forge a stronger, more united Indianapolis. Thank you for tuning in. I am sitting here with Kyle Hickman. Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm happy to be with you all today. My name's Kyle. I am originally a Michigander, born and raised, but I've lived in Indianapolis for 11, 12 years. I grew up southeast side, about 45 minutes northwest of Detroit. White Lake, Holly.
We go back and forth. A lot of Indiana people I know went to Michigan. A lot of Michigan people I know go down to Indiana.
I play hockey here in the area, and there's so many Detroit, Michigan transplants that all live in the area. It's pretty heavy.
Where do you play hockey at?
Carmel, Westfield, and Fishers.
Okay.
Depends on the week,
right on.
Essentially.
Can you tell me about your role at Rebuilding Together?
Yeah, so I work for an association management company that serves a bunch of clients, and one of the clients we work with is Rebuilding Together Indianapolis. So I'm the executive director. I've been in that role since September of 2022. Our mission.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Our mission as an organization is to help people age in their home. We're focused on safe and healthy homes. So the goal is we pull in dollars from sponsors, grants, and everything we do goes back into doing critical repairs for people's homes. And so as long as they own their home, they have homeowners insurance, and they meet our income expectation, then they can qualify for the
What's the
program.
income expectation?
So it's basically no more than like $2,000 a month. So it's mostly folks that are on fixed income, Social Security income. I'd say the average age of the homeowner we work with, we're in the near Northwest community right now, is probably 60 to 70 years old. So it's older demographic.
Start asking a lot of questions because I'm currently buying my first home right now, and I just had first time home buyer.
There you go.
I was
Congrats.
looking at the program, and I just did the inspection yesterday. So
you're right in the throes of it.
Yeah, so I said, Kyle's coming in. Should I start asking about a bunch of questions that you could do on the house? And I don't know. So the fact that you gave me those specifications, I need to go look at some things again. Okay, so I have 10 questions I developed for any Indianapolis person.
Oh, baby.
Just to get to know you and your take on this city.
Let's go.
This is like a love letter to Indianapolis, I guess.
I'll do my best.
Okay.
Not a native Indianapolis person, but I've been here for more than a decade, so I feel like I'll do okay.
That's already question one, was how long have you lived in Indy? So you already answered that one.
Little do people know I've already looked at your screen. You don't even know.
Did you live anywhere else in Indiana? Did I catch that part?
No, I'm Indianapolis, Carmel. I lived up in Carmel for a couple of years, but mostly I've lived in the Broad Ripple I live on the east side right now.
Did you say southeast Michigan?
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with the region of Indiana, the northwest Indiana, like Hammond and all that outside Chicago area, Chicago?
Oh, I mean, I grew up on the east side of Michigan, but the southwest or northwest of Detroit. So I'm not. When you grew up in Michigan,
Gary.
we didn't cross over to the west side very often. We should have. Now that with Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo is so cool, everybody just converged up north in northern Michigan.
That's fair. I always like to find. I have a kinship with people in northwest Indiana,
really?
That whole area. Yeah, we're our own breed up there, just outside Chicago Bears.
No, I can't claim that one, man. I got nothing there. I'm a Lions fan, so go Lions, baby.
Man,
Lions play the Bears on Sunday, so
yeah,
it's supposed to be cold and snowy.
I hope you win, so we can just keep moving up in the draft lottery.
We'll be happy to do that for you.
Question 2: what's your favorite spot downtown?
Favorite spot downtown? Right
Spend
now,
a lot of time there?
Not as much as I probably, but I'm getting older, in my mid-30s, and so going out and doing things, I have less and less motivation to do it. But I like the garage down there, so if I need to pop in and I'm not sure what I want to eat, I'll just pop over there and find, because there's so many options, and I can dabble here, dabble there. So I like having the options there.
I just celebrated my 36th birthday a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations!
Thank you, and it was at
You
the
made
garage.
it. There you go. The garage food hall.
And then across the street.
The living room theaters are cool. I'm a Regal
gone there.
Unlimited person, so I tend to go to Regal theaters. But
is the living room what I think it is, where you just go in and it looks like a living room? Is there sofas and stuff and it's private? Me and my 10 buddies are going to rent this little living room.
No, it's got some vibes. I mean, it's really nice. but it's not.
It's not
the
just
cheapest
another
place in the world.
theater.
No, it's not just.
Okay.
It has some vibes to it, but it's not like that much on theme of what you're thinking.
Okay, that's what I picture when I go in there, and I'm just scared, I guess.
If you want really nice seats, the living room is a great spot because it's a brand new theater. It's only a couple years old, so if you're looking for comfy, nice, relaxing lounge chairs, it's pretty good.
Sounds good. Question 3: what's your favorite neighborhood? Buying a house, I'm getting to know the neighborhoods pretty well.
I mean, I'm just really familiar with the Broad Ripple area because for the most of the time I've been in Indianapolis. I've lived out there. So I don't know if I have a favorite neighborhood, though, because I'm not from here. I like the east side where I live now, but I'm way more familiar with like the Sobro areas.
You know the names of the neighborhoods, though. That's important.
Meridian, Kessler, that whole
area. Not everybody
we gotta have to be.
4: best seasonal activity in Indianapolis.
Ooh, seasonal activity.
Chris Kindlemark right now is pretty big.
Yeah, that's the spicy one. I enjoy the pumpkin beer release at Beer Brewery.
Okay.
Up there.
What's it called?
Beer Brewery, BIER. Right there at
that's what I thought it was spelled. That's a weird name for a brewery. Beer brewery.
Very German, They live in that German life, but they do their pumpkin beer release in September every year, and I always look forward to that as a Mug Club member to go over there. And
do you speak a little German?
None. Zero.
Oh, okay. I studied it for 7 years. And it came back to me just the other day where I was watching a teacher teach Spanish, and all of a sudden my old German came back to me, and then it left again.
It's fun how that works, right?
Yeah.
It's just like locked in your subconscious. No, I studied the really useful languages
French.
of Hebrew and Latin back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
Latin,
languages that
important.
really very few people speak or use.
You understand
unless I'm in like a
traditional,
Hebrew community, then maybe. But.
Question 5: where should every tourist go at least once?
Ooh, here in town? Oh, you got to go to Yats. That's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody that comes to town, I take them to the OG location, 54th and College. That's if I'm showing you and you're in town, we're going to get some Cajun Creole. We're gonna go talk to Joe.
Drunk chicken.
Drunk chicken's probably like my number 4.
What'd you get first?
My top 3 are Chipotle Alexio, chili cheese etouffee with crawfish, and the mock shoe. But then drunk chicken will be number 4.
Do you get extra bread?
I used to. My heart wants it.
Yeah.
But I don't do it anymore because it's not good for me. But I always do the fixin', so I will do the sour cream and cheese. If I'm at the location up in Fishers,
sour cream and cheese on it for you?
You can do sour cream, cheese, and onion. And if you go to the other location, some of them will do jalapenos.
I just learned something new today.
You're welcome.
Man.
The one in Fishers will do jalapenos, and that's nice.
Question 6: what's a great date and/or friend group activity?
Date activity here locally. I mean, I feel like Indianapolis has better like parks than people give it credit for sometimes. So like holiday parks are a really good place to just go walk around and enjoy the ruins, and it's a lot bigger than people would give it.
You're the second person on this podcast to mention those
really?
ruins. Yeah.
Yep. Holiday park's really cool. I think the area has more parks than people allude to.
There's a lot of state parks within an hour driving distance too, and I've been to most of them.
So if your date's into active things like that, then I think you've got some options here locally. If not, you just have to stay at home and throw on Netflix, I guess. I don't know. No, there's good restaurants you could check out too. But.
Question 7 is a rapid fire. It's a bunch of different things. Best foods of the Indianapolis area. Best pizza.
Oh, I'm a Jets guy. But that's not even an Indianapolis thing. Yeah. I'm just a Jets person. Detroit style pizza. I live that life.
Futuro? Have you been to Futuro?
I haven't.
They have Detroit
do they?
deep dish pizza. Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, I'm
going to
scope it.
It's not too far from here.
I'm going to scope it. Futuro?
Futuro. Yeah.
Futuro. Okay.
Having some ownership issues recently, though. I know they, but the pizza was good when I went there. Best burger?
Best burger in town. I mean, does a fast food restaurant count?
No.
Oh, because Shake Shack's right up there.
Oh, man.
And the Smoke Shack from Shake Shack is the best burger in the game.
You want to do fast food? You could do fast food.
Well, I'd say best fast food present in the area, the Smoke Shack with the little tiny cherry pepper crystals is amazing.
Smash Burger in Irvington yet?
I have.
Yeah.
Yep. Smash Burger's good. Smash Burger's good. I don't mind Smash Burger. Favorite burger in the area, like local burger? I mean, maybe I'm a bad person to ask because I mean, Bub's is fine.
Sure.
Like Brew Burger's fine. But
like
they don't have burgers where I'm like, I'm gonna go out on my way. I used to live in Texas. There's a place in Texas where I went to grad school. I'm going out of my way to go get a burger from there. But I don't know if Indianapolis has a burger that I'm like dying to go get.
Have you been Working Man's Friend?
I don't think so.
That's
No.
cash only. That's
I love a
pretty
good cash
burger.
only place.
Yeah,
That's a good sign for me.
interesting. Why is that?
I don't know. I like the confidence that comes with cash
Okay,
only.
that you know
when you're like,
I can't.
we
go
live in a
cash only.
world.
That's fine.
We live in a world where everybody's always doing cards, and they're like, our stuff's good enough. We're just gonna do cash only. I respect that.
Okay, you won me over.
I respect that. You know, I'm not. It's a pain in the butt. Don't get me wrong, but I respect it.
Sure. Best taco.
I mean, I'm like the worst person to ask because the tacos I like are at places like Chewy's or Nada downtown. So,
okay.
like, but they're not really local joints. Like
Sure.
Chewy's
I
is
get
my
that.
favorite Tex-Mex place. I will go there all the
I've
time.
heard of that.
Creamy jalapeno.
Can you spell it?
CHUY''S. There's
Oh,
two
okay.
locations. There's one in Fishers Noblesville, and there's the one in West Carmel, so like 86th in Michigan, essentially.
Have you been to Torchy's Tacos and Fishers?
I have.
And
I didn't mind it.
yeah, it's pretty
That
good.
was,
I like that one.
yeah, I probably went there like a year ago, something like that.
Did a competition to name their newest taco. I didn't win and didn't appreciate the one they went.
You want
with
to talk
was-
about it?
No.
No, you know what I'm talking about? You seem sad. Torchy life. I had it once. It was solid.
Best chicken sandwich or pork tenderloin?
I'm not into. See, I'm like the worst person to ask because I'm not a fan of the pork tenderloin
pass.
culture.
You can pass.
What was the first part of the question?
Chicken sandwich.
Oh,
That's why I said chicken sandwich.
I mean, I
forgive
just
me.
tried that that new Slim Chickens place that was solid. Chicken sandwich though, again, like it's all the Popeyes has a great. Like I'm just gonna give chains that I really like the
Okay.
chicken sandwiches. I don't have a local. I'm terrible at going to local places. Gets
That's fair.
expensive.
Yeah, that's well. You said you're in your mid-30s, so you stay at home.
Yeah.
You know? Best dessert. That's the last one.
Best dessert. I don't think I have. I'm cake bake shop, I guess.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Again, I don't go out of my way for dessert. My dessert is usually Moose Tracks ice cream in my
Are you
freezer.
an ice cream person?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
definitely some
I
ice
could eat
cream. I
ice
like
cream all day.
cupcakes. I like ice cream. Anything. Yeah, I mean, I'll dabble.
One of the kids like last week said that their favorite dessert are cupcakes, and I said that's interesting. With all the other things out there, a cupcake really gets overlooked.
I mean, you get the it's like a little mini cake, you know? That's what you
Yeah.
want. You get the
It does
frosting.
everything. You can-
Good like red velvet with a delicious vanilla frosting.
And it's bite size.
How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah.
A muffin? I love a good muffin, you know?
So these questions start to get into, now we're starting to transition about what you do. 8, what is your favorite Indianapolis experience?
Favorite Indianapolis experience.
Could be anything.
Oh man, I'm broadening my horizons today. Is what I'm doing. Favorite Indianapolis experience. I don't know. I feel like my favorite thing about Indianapolis is my network of people here.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've had a couple knee surgeries that were not fun, and I just have this collection of humans. A lot of them which aren't from here, but just Indianapolis as a pocket has a lot of transplants, but it's not like a obnoxious, loud transplant population. Like I think some cities you go to, and they're like, yeah, everybody's from Boston or whatever. And you're like, oh, you can figure that out.
Imagine we get some Cincinnati people here.
Oh, I imagine. In
Michigan
Chicago.
people, yeah,
you
Chicago.
get but I've just got like the
Nashville.
people here I feel like are pretty down to earth. They're very reliable. They'll go out of their way to help
Yeah.
you out. So I don't know if that's the exact answer you're looking for, but
Not the best drivers.
no, my mom comes down from Michigan and complains every time she's here about the driving situation.
Just wild. After like 7 o'clock, just pack it in. That's why you stay home.
Oh, and then trying to travel across the city to get to the office, pain in the butt.
Yeah, I can
Because
imagine.
there's always just like one person sitting on the side and it stops traffic for 5 miles and you're like,
Where's the rebuilding together office?
we're on the northwest side, but
Okay.
we've got a storage unit downtown. So
okay.
then that's kind of our center location, but I work on the northwest side.
Who is making Indianapolis a better place?
Tons of organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a loaded question in
Sure.
a lot of ways. The hope is that we're all individually doing that. I think folks like yourself, right? Like I think teachers are making Indianapolis a better place. There's lots of nonprofits, tons of small businesses that are doing great work here locally that are doing a lot of community impact. RTI tries to be just one of those many. I always try to point out that RTI is it's comparatively like a spokes of a bike wheel, right? They were just one of the many spokes that kind of make this thing work and operate. So.
Is there a specific domain that you feel like we're making a lot of improvements on, whether it be pets and animals or building construction or, food, shelter, healthcare, transportation, right? With the red line.
Well, there's definitely a lot of investment in the transportation side going on. I haven't seen the data to see how like what the usage is of those particular pieces, but I look at the infrastructure around accessibility seems to be a priority of the city. But I think if I just like threw out other ideas, it would be ill-informed because I'm not terribly close to that.
I keep meeting a lot of people since I started doing this podcast from Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. And I keep hearing a lot of people.
It's like cultural trail.
Yeah, a lot of good people in the community are like, oh, I do keep Indianapolis beautiful. And I've been in talks with those people to adopt the area around here for our students to take care of, because it's like, man, everybody needs to clean up.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see us push further into recycling. I heard Indianapolis is the biggest city in the country without a feasible recycling program.
I wouldn't put recycling as a strength of the area.
Who do I see about that?
I don't know. I had recycling going to my house. I'm not going to throw the company under the bus.
Oh, no.
But I had, when I moved into my house back in April, recycling, and it never came. They never picked up things once on time. So I eventually had to cancel it.
You want to run for mayor, Kyle?
No, I don't. That's hard.
If you ran for mayor, run on recycling?
Well, if you want to get into the real crux of it, that what we do individually with recycling doesn't make a huge dent. It's what happens on the industrial side that really matters the most. What are companies and organizations with massive buildings and warehouses doing on the recycling end?
That's a good point.
It makes us feel good to do our own recycling, like saving that plastic water bottle, but unless those companies and organizations are doing the work, we're just kind of we're really tiny small fish. Now, that's not to say you build good habits early on, especially with young people, on conservation, doing those things I think is important. So,
last question. What is an opportunity your work has provided you in Indianapolis that you might not have done?
Oh, I would say I get a really cool opportunity so we work with one community at a time, a set of neighborhoods, and that's the near Northwest. So I work directly with the Flanner House, who is essentially the de facto CDC for that area. The area doesn't have a true community development corporation. CDC? Yeah, community development corporation. Okay. So an entity that manages, community organizing and community building across a particular region in the city. So there are CDCs.
Is that who I should be talking to next? Just
possibly
learning more about CDCs?
I would.
Okay.
I mean, they're doing a lot of aging work. I know Flanner House does a lot in trying to make homes more affordable. They're trying to convert renters into homeowners. They're doing a lot. Yeah. They work with IUPUI and do a lot in the health space because that particular area has a lot of challenges with diabetes and diabetes rates. And so the cool opportunity I've gotten is working with Flanner House and the community builder, Ron Rice, and the rest of their team, Brandon Cosby and everybody else, is I go to monthly housing meetings at Flanner House. And so you just get a cool opportunity to hear what's going on locally, whether that's issues that residents are having with, locals, whether it's trash that's being dumped, in people's alleys, or crime issues that people are dealing with, whatever it happens to be. I've just met some really unique, interesting people that are trying to address a lot of the city's challenges in creative and collaborative ways, which is really cool. So that's you kind of get stuck you get to be thrown into the mud there, but that mud is pretty fun when you're trying to figure out how all these different organizations and people and influencers are trying to make an impact.
With all of those big ideas, where do you find that your expertise comes into play? What are you good at? Because you also named a team of people, right?
Oh,
I imagine, when you come in, you have a specific set of skills that you add to the team. What would you say those are, and how have you developed them?
We talk about me personally, or just the organization and its impact? And
we could go back to that. How did your skill set bring you to rebuilding together?
Oh, well, I've always done community impact and development work. I used to lead a lot of service immersion trips. I spent most of my career in higher education and nonprofits, and so I've always been a champion of this idea of understanding poverty. What are the underpinnings of why poverty exists? What's that multifaceted approach you need to take to address poverty. You're not going to fix poverty with just one thing. You could add a bunch of funding in, it's still not going to fix it. You could add in new housing, it's not going to fix it, right? You can add in more food banks, and it's still not going to fix the problem, right? It's a complex web of organizations, financing, and leadership on the political side too that have to. So I've always been really fascinated by that world, and I've spent time working in that world. So
civics and social studies and all that, you know?
Yeah, I was a social science person through my undergrad and master's. So sociology, psychology, social psychology in particular. So understanding how people work in groups and culture, organizational culture has always fascinated me. So
you're good at taking apart and deconstructing really complex social problems. Sounds like you diagnose a problem really well too, where people love to say, well, it's just a crime. You know, like, man, it's so many issues, like you just said.
Yeah, and you at the end of the day, you could still say what happened is bad, but there's also a side of let's work to explain why it happened, right? What are the underpinnings? What are the major reasons why people are feeling desperate to do X, Y, or Z, right? Because without addressing those, then you're just playing whack-a-mole on the issues when they pop up, but you're never addressing a lot of times the economic challenges that are happening. Like I saw a stat the other day that talked about how we know you're buying a house. We know the cost of buying a house or renting is skyrocketing, and the average wage is not rising at the same level. And I think the data I saw the other day from a national poll was that for those two things to match, so wage and the cost of housing, wages would have to go up 63% on average to keep up with essentially that rise of inflation and what it costs to live. So it affects how people live, whether they live with extended families. What does that mean for kids? What does it mean for relationships? So I'm always really fascinated by that work. And I kind of stumbled into RTI because I had started with my company, Madison Corporation, and they had just they were in the process of bringing on RTI as a client, and they were looking to find people that would staff it, and they knew my background, they knew what I had done, and they were like, we think you would be a really good fit for this, and it's been a really good match ever since I stepped into the role.
Silly question. One of the things that made me start this podcast really was we look so much at fixing things on a national level, and I'm starting to realize I don't think anybody at the national level can fix any of these issues. Is there a place, you talk about the rising wages, is there something a president can do or a national team can do, or is this something we have to solve on a micro level, on a city government level? What's the big push? Or just multi-complex problem that can only be solved at a city level?
I mean, sure, there are things that can be done at the federal level that can help with that, right? Whether it's regulation or some kind of legislation. But really, the rising cost, you look at a city like Denver, where the cost of living in Denver is just it's skyrocketing. It's astronomical. And
I was thinking about moving there too.
And it's a beautiful place. Like I don't want to dissuade anybody from listening to think about Denver, but just understand what kind of housing market you're going into when you get out there. Or the other data I saw was that they looked at in every major market across the country, what is the average amount of your overall salary goes towards housing.
Sure.
What city do you think was number one? It was almost 40% of people's monthly income was going towards housing.
Wow.
What do you think? You got a guess? Get a guess on which city?
Which city?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Has the highest percentage of people's income goes towards what they pay for rent or their mortgage.
Los Angeles?
It's not Los Angeles. Los Angeles is up there.
I lived in Los Angeles.
Yes. It's Miami. Miami is the most expensive city to live in from a housing perspective, according to the data, straight facts in terms of what it costs. Denver, LA, New York, they're all up there too.
Portland or Seattle's probably.
Seattle's up there too. Yeah. But making those changes.
Lowest? You got a low one?
I don't know what the lowest was, but I wouldn't be shocked if Indianapolis, Kansas City, Columbus, a lot of these Midwest cities are probably on the lower end of that, just because people, it's landlocked, and people are like, you don't get
Boise,
right? yeah, different major markets like that. But now, affecting that. I mean, that's such a loaded question. I wish I had the panacea to address it, but it's got to happen on the state level, right? Like states have to look at those markets and how they can regulate it. The challenge, right, is that you buy a house at X. You couldn't control the market before you bought the house. You buy the house at a certain point, and naturally speaking, that you always want to be able to make some kind of investment on your money, right?
Okay.
Whatever you don't want to lose money. If you sell your house 5 years from now, you don't want to sell it for 10 grand, 15 grand less than you paid for it. So that's the challenge, is that now that people have paid a certain amount of money for their homes, so they're paying, for real estate, then trying to bring that market back down is that whatever people invested may not get that back when they sell the home later. And so that becomes but what you see in some places too, that local municipalities with Airbnbs have essentially regulated investment companies just buying up homes, because it is no longer, it's in a residential area, but it's no longer a residential home because they turn it into a rental property, and then they jump up the prices there. And so once upon a time was our Airbnb was this like affordable, interesting new option to do something different than a hotel. Yeah. Now hotels are more affordable than Airbnbs. And so the market's flipped just in the past, 5 years.
I always wonder about all those childhood rules that you had with your family, if some of those would help sometimes. And one of the things I always think about is like, nobody gets a second plate until everybody has their first plate, like when you go to like a cookout and stuff. And I was like, can we just do that for houses? Or I don't even know if that fixes the problem, really. So
Well, and I think there's, I'm kind of looking at this myself right now. You have to, essentially, if you wanted to rent your house after you buy, I think you have to be a primary residence for 2 years before you do it, because I didn't know that. That's dissuading people from buying and then immediately just renting it and driving up the costs because they know people are desperate with the market the way it is.
Last question, then we'll bring in the kids and they could talk more about what you do.
We haven't done much of that, but it's okay. It's all the stuff surrounding what I do.
Well, the kids are going to ask all those
questions.
We're
doing affordable housing repairs.
These kids don't understand all of that stuff with the market and things. They want to understand the repairs of a house. All the apartments that are being built on every single block in Indianapolis, is that going to be a good thing for what you do or a bad thing?
For what we do?
For what you do, but also is that going to be good? Is that going to help the market? Is that going to help address one of these issues, or is it going to make it worse?
Well, I think it's multi-pronged, right? So look at Broad Ripple, for example. They've been building all these new, like I'll call high-rise apartments. Sure. High-rise for Indianapolis, right? 4, 5, 6 stories. We're not talking 20, 30 stories like you might find in a New York or a Chicago. Sure. While those are not buying alternatives, right? So it's not like even condos where somebody could buy the condo within a building like that. So there's not equity that they're building in purchasing those. But at the same time, because that's such a popular thing, it brings more people to the area. So there's an economic influx with people going to restaurants and bars and things like that locally, right? Using public transportation, whatever it happens to be. So in one regard, I think it is good for the local economy because it's going to bring younger people in who may have some buying power, who are willing to go out and about on a Tuesday night when we're in our mid-30s and we're like, I'm good. I'm going to pass on that. But
they're also willing to have roommates.
That's true as well, right?
We're in our mid-30s. I'm done having roommates.
No, I'm good. The only roommates are my animals. That's all I need at this point. But in terms of like how it affects us, not terribly much, because at the end of the day, the homeowners we're working with, like especially in the communities we're in now, I mean, the average homes are 80 to 100 years old, 80 to 110 years old. So them building apartments nearby aren't necessarily hurting us. What more so affects the work we do is, and you see this even in that community, is you've got these developers who come in and are revitalizing the neighborhood by investing in, building new homes, modern looking homes. And that obviously pushes up property tax value, that pushes up the cost to live there. So our challenge then becomes, how do we help these folks stay in their homes as long as possible and not get pushed out because of rising property taxes? Sure. And when you talk to community builders here in the area, they will tell you that's one of the hardest things for them to do as part of their job. So like Ron in the near Northwest, he's got everywhere from Golden Hill, which is right next to Marion University, which is essentially like the homes that were built for the Lilly executives in the early 20th century. Okay. And so it's an extremely nice, extremely wealthy neighborhood. It's a small pocket, but he's also got some really economically disadvantaged neighborhoods that he has to deal with. And so his job is to balance both sides of listening and advocating for when you've got folks that have no problems with money in most cases, I'm sure. Everybody's a little bit different, versus folks that are really struggling to get by, right? So, and you got to be able to meet the needs and understand investment and that mix of gentrification versus people wanting to get money back on their investments. And it's hard, at the end of the day, like, yeah, if we clean up the house on the corner, if we clean up we get rid of that building on the corner, it will make it maybe a nicer place to live, maybe push some nefarious characters out, but it also might drive up the cost of living to be here. And then can I stay, right? I've been here 45 years. Can I afford to stay?
You have a really good grasp on this idea that it's not math, right? Where math is there's one right answer and everything else is wrong. With social sciences and civics and helping people and problem solving, everything you do, there's going to be a consequence.
We have to live in the gray when it comes to stuff like that.
Anytime you help somebody else gets hurt. That's interesting.
Yep. So that's a lot of the work we do, right? We're not doing massive, we're not doing, in general, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 projects, right? Sure. We're doing mostly $2,500 to $10,000 projects that allow them to just do basic repairs around their homes, right? So we're not fundamentally changing the value of your home. We're just making sure that you can stay in your home as long as possible, that plumbing issue isn't pushing you out, or that electrical issue doesn't cause a house fire, or you're not falling down. They say that the main reason that elderly folks get pushed to nursing homes are falls.
Yep,
right?
Sure.
Going down to the basement. A lot of these homes, being 100 years old, they have their washer dryer units in the basement.
This house I'm trying to buy is 100 years old.
Yep. Everything's in the basement. You're 75, not terribly mobile, trying to get up and down. That's a hazard, right? A health hazard. You go down a couple times, and then it's really hard to maintain. Next thing you know, you're not in your home anymore.
For homeowners having this issue, what's the best place to get in touch with Rebuilding Together if they want to make that step and say, yeah, let me reach out and see what they can do for me?
Yeah, so a couple ways. You can go to our website, www.rebuildingtogetherindy.org, and that's the best way. Just learn about what we do. If you're somebody who might be interested in our services, again, we serve basically one set of communities at a time. And so if you go to the Contact Us page on our website, there's a form to fill out. I get a lot of calls and emails from folks all over the state, right, reaching out to say, hey, can we help? And so there's a lot of need. But the way we're set up right now, we don't, people from Goshen are reaching out, or people from Muncie. And I always recommend, contact your local United Way, call 211, see what resources and orgs you have locally.
Tell me, what's Rebuild Day 2024 on April 27th? So
we do it's usually the last Saturday in April. Rebuilding Together is a national organization. Right. We're the local affiliate.
There's news articles from Houston. I saw that on your website.
Yeah, I think there's over 130 affiliates, so we're the one here in central Indiana. But basically all the organizations do their big Rebuild Day at the end of April. So we will do most of our work with homeowners on that day. So we'll work with anywhere between 10 to 15 homes on that day. We'll have house captains, volunteer teams from different sponsors, companies, and organizations coming in, and we'll do a full day of projects. So we'll do anything from having our electrical teams from the Electrical Training Institute of Indy coming and doing electrical projects. Our Legion team sends in folks that do door hardware and locks. We work with Groundworks to do landscaping. So we're doing as much as we can in one day, and then throughout the year we tend to do about one project per month based on whatever grants we can get in to do it.
Kyle, thank you so much for coming in
Absolutely.
today. You ready to talk to the kids?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's take a moment to thank our amazing sponsor, Paradigm Games, for this episode, your ultimate destination for tabletop gaming excitement, conveniently located at 2479 North Meridian Street, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46208. But wait, that's not all, folks. Paradigm Games is not just your average game store. They are the proud hosts of the Wednesday Lorcana League Nights, where the action starts at 6:30 p.m. For just $10, you'll get a spot on the sheet and a booster pack to jump into the thrilling world of Lorcana. Plus, you'll be battling it out for monthly promos that'll leave you hungry for more. But wait, Paradigm Games has something special for all you Pokemon enthusiasts out there. Join them every Sunday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. for Pokemon League. And the best part? It's completely free. Gather your best decks, trade cards, and meet fellow trainers in the ultimate showdown. So whether you're a board game fanatic or a Pokemon trainer, Paradigm Games is your go-to destination for gaming fun in Indianapolis. Support our sponsor because they support your passion.
Little bit of background on me. So I've lived in Indianapolis now for I think 11 years. I'm originally from Michigan, born and raised, and have traveled. I've been to 48 states, so I've been a little bit all over the place. I've seen some things, which is cool. Should travel and see as much as you can if you have the opportunity to do it. And I currently work. So I live on the east side. I live about 10 minutes from here. And I work for an organization called Rebuilding Together Indianapolis. We've been here in Indianapolis since 1999, so almost 25 years. What we do is we help homeowners age in place. So we're very heavily focused on safe and healthy homes. So our goal is to take folks who own their homes, who have homeowners insurance, who essentially meet our income expectation. I would say on average, our homeowners probably between 60 and 70 years old. They live in community. We work in the near northwest communities of Indianapolis, and our goal is to just do necessary repairs around their home to allow them to stay as long as they'd like. The city, as some of you probably know, right, is kind of in this weird melting pot of gentrification and economic investment, and because of that, a lot of homeowners it's really hard for them to make the necessary repairs around the home, especially because a lot of them are on fixed income, right? A lot of them are retired or on Social Security income, those types of things. And so our organization's goal is to make sure that they can stay there as long as they'd like. And they may not have the skills, the people in their lives to be able to help make those adjustments. But obviously we get a lot of requests for the work we do across the state. But as of right now, we kind of we move every couple of years, but right now we're in the near northwest. So that's kind of the high level gist of what RTI does. Most of our money comes from sponsorships and grants, so either corporate sponsors or community grants, foundation grants, state level grants, things like that. So we do as much work as we can with the money that we get, and we put a lot of skilled contractor folks that know how to do plumbing, electrical, carpentry, HVAC, stuff like that. We put those people in places where they can provide people support. So if you've got, if your furnace isn't working properly, our job is to try to get somebody in there who can replace the furnace. If you've got, your floor, it's bending or there's issues with your floor, our job is to try to put a contractor in there that can do that kind of work.
How did you get from point A to point B? Fresh out of high school, how did you get to where you are now?
I grew up in Michigan. I did my college degree in North Central Pennsylvania, so in Williamsport, PA, where the home of the Little League World Series is. So I did that for 4 years. I got my degree in social science, essentially anthropology, sociology. Then I moved here for 2 years. I was a consultant, so I traveled the country for 2 years, went to a lot of colleges and universities. That's what afforded me to visit so many places, because they were like, you're going to be in a car, and you're going to travel to all these places. I'm like, cool, sounds great. Weird world. I went to grad school in Texas for 2 years, got my master's degree, and then I moved to Connecticut for a year. I worked at Quinnipiac University, a college, and then I moved back here. I was here for 5 years. I worked in nonprofit student affairs work, doing communications and member development, so a lot of professional development stuff. And then I moved to Maryland for a year, and then I moved back here, and I've been back here for the last 2 years. So I've been a little bit all over the place. I would say what led me from point A to point B was just right time, right place, right people. And so that's a matter of being open-minded to new experiences. And I think I got lucky sometimes that I was in the right room to be around somebody that had an opportunity available for me. And I'm always very curious. I go out of my way to just try to get to know people, because just the relationship alone can lead you to a lot of opportunities, right? If someone likes you and they like your approach and they like what you bring to the table, they're going to try to find ways to work with you a lot of times. And so just some of it's luck, but a lot of it is just preparation and making sure you're available and you know who's out there. And you're not just staying in your silo all the time. You need your introvert moments, but you also need to make sure you're going out and putting yourself out there.
I've noticed when a lot of people strive to help others, they usually lack something early on in life. Was there anything early on in your life that possibly was like
informed
yeah.
my philanthropic spirit, essentially? Yeah, I grew up pretty poor. So I grew up in a 1-bedroom trailer for the first 12 years of my life. So my parents slept on a mattress in the living room. My brother and I slept in bunk beds in the 1 bedroom. So I think that informed my giving spirit quite a bit, right? Did not grow up in a very nice environment. And because of that, it's kind of guided me to want to give back as much as I can. Because I've been able to, the statistics would say the way I grew up and in the communities I grew up in, that I didn't have a lot of, most people don't leave that space and leave that world, right? I was lucky enough to have some mentors in high school that pushed me, and I've always been a good student. I always gave a lot of craps about doing well in school. So, getting a high GPA and getting involved in things was a good vehicle for me to get new experiences and go to school. When I went to college in Pennsylvania, it's because I wanted to get as far away from home as I could that my mom would allow me to, right? Because I know my mom, I freaked her out when I told her I wanted to go to college in Egypt, and she lost her mind, as you can imagine. So, but 7.5 hours was a good distance because I just wanted to have my own identity and get away from things and be in a new space and meet new people and just experience life in a different way. But that's because I just busted my butt when I was in school, despite the fact I grew up in a really not great scenario and situation. This is a great question.
How do you think that feeling of freedom when you got out really affected you? How much do you think it changed you from your perspective?
Oh, a lot. I was so naive. So naive. You think you know things, but it's like anything else. You don't know what you don't know until you get put into a position and you're like, oh crap, I'm learning. So I learned a lot those 4 years I was in Pennsylvania, because cultural differences, regional differences, how people pronounce words, because automatically that's stupid. Why do you say it that way? They call water wooder out there. And I'm like, what are we doing here? But it just it's dialect difference, and they hear the way you talk and they're like, that's stupid. And you're like, well, it's just, you learn quickly. Life comes in all different shapes and forms and sizes, right? And cultures are always so fascinating. So those 4 years were good but challenging, because I learned a ton about myself, who I am, what I care about, and I challenged a lot of my preconceptions about my values and what I cared about. Right? I got to look at life in a completely different way. So I always recommend for folks, take a step back, question your assumptions, and think differently, because somebody will introduce you to a whole new worldview, a whole new paradigm, and you might not jive with it. It may not be your jam, but at least you've been open-minded to a new way of thinking about something, right? And it creates empathy from that. That's what I love about just talking to new people all the time.
Any you had already mentioned some tips on how to get to that mental state where you're able to pick up on a lot more perspectives and understand things a lot better because of it. Any tips towards young people or even older people on how to get to that point in life where they're able to really pick up on that stuff instead of just having kind of a frozen state of mind?
Social media doesn't help, so I'll throw that out there. Conversations that happen online aren't real conversations. So the data would show you that 80 to 90% of communication happens non-verbally, right? How you sit, how you interact, right? What's on your face at any given time. And when you're interacting with people on social media, you're only getting the written or the verbal side of communication. And so much of communication is nonverbal. And so for me, that social media is powerful because it connects people, but it makes communication and learning from people really challenging, because it's really easy when you can't see the other person to get stuck in your ways and to say, I'm right, you're wrong, right? So that's number one. I think number two, it's on the individual to have an open-minded mindset ultimately, right? It's hard. I've got two degrees. I've been on the earth for a while. I feel like I figured out a lot of stuff of how life works, but I have to humble myself, especially if I come in here and you guys teach me something and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know all the things, and that's okay. It's all part of a journey. So changing someone's heart on being open-minded to things is really hard. I have no perfect answer to give you on that, But the least you can do is practice that yourself with the people in your life, your friends, your family, the people you interact with in your jobs, right? Like, take a step back. Like, who here is perfect? Who here knows everything? There's always usually one person that raises their hand, just for the laugh. Yeah, you? All right, well, so what's your name? What's your name? Dominic. So other than Dominic, everybody else is imperfect. Imperfect. You all are going to learn so much. It's so funny. You guys, what's the average age in the room?
About 14.
15, 16?
Yeah.
You guys 10 years from now are going to look back and go, I thought that at 15? Are you kidding me? Right? Some things are going to stay steadfast. They're going to stay consistent. But other things you'll be like, I cannot believe my mind at 16 was thinking that way. That's wild. The world changes. You're going to learn new stuff all the time. I do it. He does it. Like, we just learn. Being open-minded, taking a step back. And when somebody says something, you're like, excuse me? What was that? I think your first step is not they're wrong. And this goes to social psychology, your first step is really, let me seek to understand. The more that you guys can seek to understand in your personal lives, the better off and better equipped you're going to be wherever you go, right? Doesn't mean you have to be on the same page with somebody and what they believe. But as long as you ask that follow-up question of like, help me better understand that or where you're coming from, it's going to help you better understand why people do what they do, right? You may not like what they do. They might act like a butthole, right? You might be like, I think that was douche behavior, right? But when you better understand where they come from, the influences in their life, why they act the way they do, then you're better off to be able to deal with people. Because you're not going to love every single person you ever meet, especially in your jobs. It's just not how life works.
So would you say a huge part of changing is really just willpower and that want to change? And would you say that usually comes from harsh places in life that push you to do that?
So it's a double question. I think openness to new perspectives is huge, right? So if you're not terribly open to changing your paradigms and what you think about the world, it's really hard to make any significant adjustment. So it does start on the individual level.
Do you think that is usually brought to attention when something in their life pops up that shows them that their perspective isn't the only perspective?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's some kind of moment normally, right? It's some kind of moment where you had an oh crap I screwed up moment, or oh crap maybe for some of you guys it's you got put in a position where you had to use a whole new skill set or be around people in a kind of an uncomfortable way. That a lot of times will stop and make you think, oh crap, maybe I'm looking at this incorrectly, if that makes sense. So those are good questions though, good philosophical questions. Come on.
How helpful do you think internships are?
Very, very. I would say even if it's a week-long internship, a semester long, a month long, get as many internship experiences as you can get. Ideally get paid once, right? Just in an ideal world, every internship you would ever have is paid, but make smart decisions on your worth and your time and where it goes. But I would say that one of my biggest challenges is I didn't get enough internships during my college and high school days. You're going to be set up so much better, especially now because you're 15, right? You start doing internships for a month at a time, a couple weeks at a time. You're going to meet people. You're going to build your network, right? And that just opens up opportunities. The more people you know, the more opportunities you have at the end of the day. And you build new skills. And seek internships that challenge you to do different things that you're not comfortable with. You might hate it. And you might be like, I'm not good at that. But at least now you know. Before, you just never tried it.
So, you know how you said how, like, pretty much any duration is okay? What's the best duration from your personal experiences?
I think it depends on your life circumstances, right? What you can do. I mean, the longer you're in a culture or a company or organization, the more consistency you're going to build, the more you'll be able to see the work you do come to fruition. But even a week somewhere to sit in and shadow somebody is going to give you new perspectives and new experiences. But I don't know if there's a perfect one. I mean, ideal world, you're probably there a couple months so you can see how the business operates or how the organization operates. But I don't think there's a perfect answer for what that looks like. Just do it. Even if you just stop by for an afternoon and sat in and watched people in meetings and talked to an executive or talked to somebody who runs an organization, those are experiences that are valuable, very valuable.
Do you think that you need any form of inspiration to start doing internships? Like, how easy is it to just pick something up?
I think it just starts with asking questions, doing the research and asking the questions. So it could be going to him and saying, hey, I want to get more involved in X, or I want to learn about X. Who do you know, right? It just starts with that personal inspiration of, hey, I'm interested in learning more about soup. Like, maybe I want to be a chef, right? Hey, do we know of a restaurant nearby who has a shadowing program where I can like watch a sous chef do their thing? Like, I don't care about, like, I'm not a cook. I am a cook on a necessity. I'm not a great cook. But if you're interested in cooking, you should definitely shadow different sous chefs across the city. And people generally want to share their expertise. So it just comes down to you asking the questions and going out of your way to get on your phone, Google, right? Like internships, Indianapolis, restaurants, right? You can find stuff pretty easily. But you just can't wait for the world to bring that to you. You got to kind of go get it sometimes.
Do you think internships and volunteering can go hand in hand?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you can find one that allows you to do both, I think that's good. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good questions. Number 3, right? Let's go.
How long has it been since you started college? And that's going to go into another question I'm going to ask.
When did I start college?
Yeah, and how long has it been since then?
I started college in 2006.
So 17... 17 years, almost 18 years.
I was at Lycoming from 2006 to 2010, and then my master's was 2012 to 2014. So
during that time,
so I'm old.
From there to there, what do you wish you could have done differently since that time?
Since college, I would have gotten more. I wish I would have gotten 1 or 2 more internships in college. I did one my junior year, but I wish I would have taken on 1 or 2 more. I wish I would have spent more time figuring out exactly what I want to do professionally earlier. I probably figured it out a little too late. I'm happy with my journey and where it's taken me and where I'm at now, but I definitely could have taken better advantage of the resources that were available to me at the time, whether that was the career services office or talking to my professors more and just being smart about relationship building.
What about after college, after you got your master's?
Like things I wish I would have done differently?
Yeah.
After that?
Yeah.
It's so hard to like answer that question because life is weird in that you think of it this way. Every day there's this like Robert Frost diverging of 2 roads, right? Where like if I had taken option B instead of option A, my life would have gone in a completely different direction, right? If I didn't go to this program, I wouldn't have met my girlfriend, right? Or if I wouldn't have drove to the store that day, I wouldn't have met this person that led me to my job. So like life is weird in how that operates.
If you did one thing differently, you might have not been here. You might have not been in the career you are at the moment.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But
I don't have a ton of regrets. Like I don't have a ton of like things I would have done differently in college in terms of how I use my resources for sure.
You talked about before you planned on going to Egypt for college. Do you wish you did that, or are you happy with where you went?
That's a good question. A part of me is always like that would have been really interesting to go do that and get thrust into a completely different culture. But I also don't know if financially I wouldn't have been able to make it work. And I think my mom would have murdered me if that happened. Lovingly, right? not actually murder me. But she would have been very unhappy with me if I had left that far. Exactly. There's always going to be a small part of me that was like, maybe I should have done that. But at the same time, it was more of a interesting pipe dream. I'm glad I went the route I did because I met some great people. It led me to some phenomenal organizations and set me on my path. So I don't have a lot of regrets with that.
Have you traveled outside of America ever since that thought of going to Egypt?
So I've been to Mexico 3 times, mostly for work. I've been to Vancouver. I've been to Ontario. So I've been to Canada a few times.
Let's say across the water. Have you ever
I haven't. No, I'm going to Hawaii in January, which I'm really excited about, but I haven't done a lot of international travel. I want to, kind of figured out the continental United States, and the next would be to do some, because I'm a nerd of culture, right? So I want to travel more internationally to see other things, and that would be great.
If you were to, what place would you decide to go to?
Ireland would probably be my first one. I'm very Irish and British historically, and so I've always been fascinated by Ireland. But Australia is a big one. Egypt. I want to see the Great Pyramids of Egypt at some point before I die.
For the students here,
Mm-hmm.
because you've been to college, you've gotten a master's, do you have any words of advice for when high school ends and you finish up and you get your diploma? What do you suggest students to do?
I would say this. It doesn't have to be a 4-year college. It doesn't have to be a 2-year college. Trade schools right now need people, right? Especially in Indiana. Like, the trades need young people to step up into those roles. So college isn't for everybody. Like, technical school isn't for everybody. Trade school is not for everybody. But I think for you all, it's looking at, there are a lot of resources in this city, in this state, that will help you take those next steps. And so it's just being curious and asking a lot of questions. If you're interested in going into the college experience, when you talk to your counselors and make sure you get access to whatever materials are available. Google what scholarships are available. Ask people what scholarships are available. I didn't pay for my master's degree because I got an assistantship that paid for my degree, right? So you just got to be intelligent about asking the right questions and know the right people, so you can figure out what resources are there. A lot of times people don't take advantage of them. They don't fill out the actual scholarship application, right? So it might take a couple hours to put the time in, but future you is going to thank you when you don't have loans you have to pay back years later, that kind of thing.
If able, I know you weren't able to because going to Egypt is a bit pricey, but would you suggest at a young age, when you're going to college or about to go to college, would you suggest traveling?
Like travel to
Travel to different countries.
Just like travel.
Like
yeah.
you planned on doing.
If
like
you have the means, you should travel, because that's the quickest way to broaden your horizon from a cultural standpoint. When you go into a new country or a new place where they speak a different language, where you have to, the conveniences you normally have of going to the subway or something and reading, and you can't read anything on there. It's going to challenge you to problem solve, to figure out, what do I need to do? Do people speak English well here, right? Like, whatever my native language or languages are. Like, I know he's got a German background, so like, you send him to Germany, he might be okay. Some of you are like, I'm screwed if I go to Germany. No, most English is the most popular language in the world, so English is spoken in most countries, but not everywhere. So if you have the means and you can identify opportunities, you absolutely should travel, 100%. Even just other states, like New Orleans is my favorite city in the country. It's such a cool place. The culture is so interesting. The food is phenomenal, and the history mixed together. It's a melting pot of cultures, and then you learn about how, like, they don't bury their dead there. Everything is like in tombs above ground, because the city would flood and dead bodies would be like, going through the streets. It's like, that's the kind of stuff you can read about, but it's so much better to experience when you go in person.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good questions.
What part of high school's history classes were the most helpful?
Most helpful. I studied anthropology in college, so any of like the ancient history that we studied, I really enjoyed, and I found kind of led me on that path. So studying ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, any basically cultures that are really, really old, I found. But to this day, I still think about my civics lessons as it related to like how the U.S. government's structured and things like that. Like, those are just practical things that are going to help you no matter where you go and where you live in the United States. Just understanding, like, what's the minimum age to run for president, like how long are terms, like all that kind of stuff. Just general civics, I think, has served me pretty well.
If you could meet your past self, or like someone who shared your childhood, well, not really shared your childhood, but like you kind of see yourself in them, would you give them the gift of your experiences or your relationships that you've developed along your pathway?
So let me make sure I better understand the question. So young me, or a person that was like in my scenario?
Yes.
Okay. And would I give them my relationships now or my experiences?
Yes.
You ask this of everybody because this is an interesting question.
No, this is the first time I've ever
All right,
asked that
you just
question.
all right. Let's go.
You're special.
That's a good question. What would you do?
I don't know. I don't feel like I've had enough of either to do anything. I'm still finding those things.
Okay. What do you think is more valuable to you right now? Your experiences or your relationships?
Right now, probably my relationships.
Okay. I'd probably say my relationships too. I've got a lot of great people in my life all over the place, and I'm fortunate to have those folks, right? In tough times, I have a lot of people I can call on to help out. So I think circling younger me or a version of me with that circle of support and trust, I think it would be really useful.
Do you think, well, if you could go back in time, would you, how do I ask this question? Do you think it's better, well, kind of, do you wish that you, like, instead of just getting your bachelor's degree and then taking a break for a while, do you wish you got your bachelor's and then immediately went into your master's?
I don't. I know a lot of people have done that, and it works perfectly fine for them. I think I was a better graduate student because I had real life work experience and job experience and traveled. I was better equipped for that experience. People thought I was a full-time staff on campus because I was just more mature than the average grad student. So it was the right decision for me. It may not be for everybody. I know for a lot of folks, it's like if you're going in to get a PhD in something, a lot of times it just makes more sense to go straight into your program. But I wouldn't take back my 2 years on the road and meeting people. I think I was set up for a lot more success by doing that and not rushing into a master's.
Do you think the work that you do is like, do you think it improves the community?
I hope. That's the goal. We at RTI, we're big on treating people with dignity and meeting them where they're at. And the reason our partnership works so well with Flanner House and that community in the near Northwest is because we go in, we don't just say, hey, we're going to do a thing. I go to monthly housing meetings. I sit in and I listen as to what's the pulse of the community, what's going on, what are the issues people are dealing with. And we adjust our resources, our time, and our energy accordingly. So I've never been a big person of being involved in a nonprofit if it's not going to fix some of the underlying ills of what's causing the challenges in that community, right? Like we were talking before you all came in about kind of poverty and like how do you address poverty? And you can't address poverty in just one way. Poverty is a very complex topic and subject that has to be addressed with education, with training, with money, with support, with political influence, right? So I think we do a pretty good job. Could we always maximize our impact? Sure. But at the end of the day, like yesterday, I went on a walkthrough with a homeowner. We stopped by, we introduce ourselves, we talk about what we do. We let them know about the funding mechanism, how it operates. And we kind of walk through and say, hey, we can't do everything, but we'll do as much as we can with the funds that we have, right? So we try to be a partner, meet them where they're at, and we're very careful not to make it seem like we're some kind of saviors of some kind. Our job is just to be a partner for you all in the neighborhood and support as much as we can.
I can really ask you this question just because I heard about your experience in your childhood.
Yeah.
Do you feel like money, and have you ever felt in your path, in your your journey and through life, that you had to choose between money and then your dreams and your beliefs?
I have. I would say during my undergraduate college degree days, I thought I wanted to get a PhD in archaeology. So I originally was an archaeology major. I was going to go, dig up old ancient cultures and do all that stuff. But I realized pretty quickly that to do that, I was going to have to go get the PhD, and there wasn't a lot of financial support for that. And so it was going to be expensive to do it. And I was going to have to take on a lot of debt to do it. And I chose not to go that path. Right. And to his question earlier, when you look at would you have done things differently? I don't think I would have. Right. Because I've really enjoyed the work I've been doing and where it took me, but those were the types of decisions I had to make of this seems like my dream, but it's financially for me right now, because my family doesn't have a lot of money, like I had to be smart about what risks I took, right? So I went with, I made decisions that were a little less risky, but still aligned with what I wanted to do in some ways. It just took kind of a weird route to get there ultimately. So yeah, those are the decisions you always have to make, right? Like, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. My parents aren't people that can, pick me up in a pinch financially, right? So I always have to be smart about what I save, what I do, where I spend my time. They love me and appreciate me, but they're not made of cash, so I have to be smart.
This is my last question, and it's kind of a personal question, so you don't really have to answer it if you don't want to.
Okay.
Have you ever done anything that you felt was morally wrong in order to get to this path and do the things that you wanted to do?
Ethics are important to me. I don't know if I'm perfect, but I've been very stubborn about not sacrificing my personal ethics to advance. Like, you can go through life like kissing a lot of butt and cozying yourself up to certain individuals and people and groups, but that's just not the way I operate and the way I've always operated. Has there been opportunities? Sure. I'm sure. But I don't know. I always try to take the road less traveled, I guess, as much as I can. But I'm not perfect. Nobody ever is. Nor will you ever be. But I think as long as you understand what's important to you and your values, and you do your best not to sacrifice those in attainment of whatever goals you have to do that. But at the end of the day, you also have to work with people and in organizations, and you just have to figure out what's right for you. I don't know. It's a really high level answer for that, but I don't know if I have a perfect response for you. Try not to, is what I would say. Try not to sacrifice your personal values for your pursuits, is what I would say.
I know I said that was my last question, but that led me to have more questions. So I'll just have this one question. Okay. So, has your company ever kind of turned down any partnerships because they were either kind of more on the money side, like they were more, interested in making money than helping people?
Good question. So we haven't turned anybody down in my year plus that I've worked there. That most of the companies we work with or organizations we work with, they provide financial support or in-kind skilled labor support, and there's usually an alignment between what they want to provide and what we do. Our bigger challenge is because of the work we do to keep people in their homes in communities that are being gentrified, right, and people are being pushed out. There are also in the city companies or individuals who are kind of at the epicenter of gentrifying the city, right? And so the conversations we have is, even if they have a high profile, right? If people know them, and because we work with them, then more people know who we are. Is there an alignment between what they're trying to do for the city versus what we're trying to do, right? We're not trying to raise income or property rates so high that people can't live in that community any longer, right? Whereas others, they're really just about turning around people's investments financially. And I think we've made, I don't know exactly what we're going to do long term in terms of partnering with groups or people like that, but we're very careful and we're very strategic about that, of not sacrificing what we stand for just for getting on television or that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Those are the fun conversations. Yeah. Welcome.